Hello my honeys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and I'm so happy that you are here today. This is Crime and Tea Time, and as the name insinuates, we'll be sipping on a cup of tea while we talk about today's story. Today we'll be talking about Paige Stalker. Paige was born on January 28th, 1998. I believe she was born and raised in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, but I have not been able to confirm that. I just want to give you guys a little bit of background about Paige. She just seems like an all-around American girl. She was such a sweet girl. She played lacrosse. She was an honor roll student at her private school. She volunteered at her local hospital. She was a great friend to so many people. She was a loving sister. The way she is described online is just so incredible. I can only wish to be described in that way. She was known to always be kind and always sweet to people. She never wanted anybody to feel as if they were left out. She never wanted to see any bullying happening. She brought life into the classroom, as one of her classmates said. It was just so amazing to learn more about her. Paige was an amazing babysitter. She loved all the kids in her neighborhood and they loved her back. The parents thought she was an amazing babysitter. She would even take the kids out to go and get Starbucks, and I just thought that was so cute because she would use that as a way to buy their love, is something that was said, but I'm sure they loved her anyway. Not only that, but Paige would go and visit her grandparents twice a week, which I'm sure was tough with her busy schedule. She would go and visit them twice a week, and she would bring them chocolate shakes, and that was kind of a thing that they had as a tradition, and I just thought that was so sweet. So let's fast forward to the night of December 22nd, 2014, just 3 days before Christmas. Paige and her family had sat down and they had enjoyed a dinner of lasagna, which her mother mentioned was not Paige's favorite meal, but she did eat 2 helpings of it anyways. After that dinner, Paige and her sister were planning on attending a movie that night. Her little brother had asked if he could go with them, and they said that he couldn't because that's just what older sisters do. And prior to going and seeing this movie, Paige had actually been picked up by her best friend Mia, and it all happened so quickly that her mother and sister didn't really know what happened or where she went. She had left her wallet behind, but she did grab her phone. And she said, "Mom, we're just gonna go." I don't know if it was through a phone call or through a text message, but she told her mom and said, "Mom, we're just gonna go pick somebody up. Mia came and got me, and we're gonna be home. I'll be there in time for the movie." An hour had passed, and that is when Paige's mom got the phone call from their neighbor and said Paige is in the hospital and she's been shot. The reason the hospital didn't call Paige's mom directly was because they didn't have her number. And so Paige's mom rushes to the hospital to find out that her daughter is no longer alive. So what happened in between the time of Paige leaving her house and Paige no longer being with us? Paige and her friend had not only gone and picked one person up, but there was 3 other people in the vehicle, and it was believed that the kids were going to go and they were going to smoke weed. They had gone to 3 blocks over from Grosse Pointe Park, which was in Detroit, and they had gone to the corner of Phillip and Charlevoix. This area was, it's a pretty barren area. There are still houses there, but they were near an empty lot. This area, when you go onto Mack Avenue, is pretty packed. There's gas stations, there's mechanic shops, there's little restaurants. There's a lot of stuff going on the main road, but this again is a side street. So her and her friends had parked the car, and I believe it was a silver Mercury. So not only had they picked up 3 different people, but now there was 5 of them in the car, and they had parked on the corner of Phillip and Charlevoix. Then it's believed that they were going to go smoke marijuana, so they were all sitting in the car ready to smoke. There are a few different theories and there are a few differing opinions on what exactly happened. One of them is that somebody comes up to their car, knocks on the window, the girl rolls it down, and he says, "You're in the wrong part of town," and then proceeds to fire off shots from an AK-47. There's also another theory that he pulls up forward to them in front of their car and just starts firing at them. There's also a theory that 2 men get out of the vehicle and start shooting. So there are a lot of differing opinions. It's not really sure if he pulled up to the side or pulled up to the front or simply got out of the car and started firing. There's also another theory that is believed that he comes out of the car, asks for one of the people to get out of the car, that person doesn't, and that's when he starts firing. There are so many different theories in this case. I believe that in the beginning the media took things and they ran with them because she was a suburban girl that was in Detroit and she was in an area where she shouldn't have been. And I believe that the media took this, ran with it, and made their own stories. 4 of the kids were from Grosse Pointe. 1 of the kids was from Detroit, so I'm sure that they wanted to implicate that it was the kid's fault who was from Detroit and that it was a drug deal gone wrong. That was another thing that was suspected, and that that person was mad that he was on their territory. I don't believe that that could have been a possibility, because even if he was a teenage drug dealer, I'm not sure he could have been selling them more than $10 worth of weed, and I don't think that that drug dealer would have cared if this was truly something that would have affected them. The theory that is most believed today is that they had a similar vehicle color to another gang that was in the area earlier, I believe minutes before. There was either a shooting or there was some type of gang rivalry, and the person left. They went to go and get more guns and more people, and just in time, Paige and her friends were pulling up to that area. That person believed that they were the rival gang. He gets out of his car. He is believed to be a 6-foot tall black male wearing army fatigues. He gets off and he starts firing off shots from his AK-47. It is believed between 25 and 30 shell casings were found on the scene. And there is surveillance footage to corroborate this that was found at a gas station near the area. Something that is deeply frustrating about this case is that for years they've known who has done it. I believe they have at least 3 out of the 4 people that were in that vehicle that day in the other vehicle. They know they have found part of the gun, which when I hear that, it's kind of confusing because it's like, what do you mean you found part of it? But I believe that the AK-47 has different parts. You can break it apart, you can put it back together. So they took apart, likely the part with the serial number or something like that, and tossed it. And they tossed it in a gas station in Ohio or somewhere in Ohio, and that part was found. And I believe the reason it was found was due to a tip from a jailhouse snitch. And he was the cellmate of the man who had done the killing. And so he had snitched to police and let them know that he admitted this to me. He told me what he had done, and I believe this is where the gun is. And so they had gone and found it. They have identified the other people, but there is yet to be a case filed against them. And I believe that it's stuck in the prosecutor's office because that's what has been told. It has just been said that there's not enough evidence to persecute them and know that they will be in prison. So they want to wait until their case has a witness or something like that. But as we all know, it is really hard to come forward, and it is really hard for certain people to come forward. Although there is an amazing reward at the end of it, because her family and families around them, as well as Detroit Crime Stoppers, have all contributed to the largest reward in Michigan history. Over $160,000 that they have brought together, and that is from anonymous donors, her family, and Detroit Crime Stoppers. So if somebody were to come forward, this would be a life-changing amount. And her mother even mentioned that, I understand why you aren't talking, but there is a no snitch mentality in Detroit and in many areas like that, because most people don't want to talk to the police, and that's a very valid argument, and that's very valid reasoning. But it is a girl's life that was ended far too soon due to gun violence in Detroit. Although this case is not solved to this day, it has been said that it is not a cold case and that is not something that is put on the back burner for police. They are still actively working on this investigation and trying to solve it. Something that I do want to mention, that 4 out of 5 of the people that were in the vehicle that day were also shot. And I find it so incredible that her friend was able to drive them to the hospital. Even though she had been shot, she gunned it and went all the way down to Beaumont Hospital. I do not want to end this video on a sad note, guys. Although this is a really tough topic and really trying times, I do want to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse of a bright side. and the impact that Paige had left on so many other people. She, in her name, Beaumont Hospital, the hospital that she passed away at, and also the hospital that she volunteered at, had come up with a scholarship for her, as well as her graduating class. She would have graduated in 2016, which is the same year I graduated in, so it's a little bit weird to think about. They ended up giving a legacy gift, and it was a scholarship in her name, which I just think is so incredible. Knowing that she was an honor roll student and such an amazing kid that had such an impact on everybody in her school. Something really interesting that I found out while researching this case was that her older sister, Madison, was actually on a show called Below Deck on Bravo, and she gave an interview about 7 months ago and just talked about how her sister was the catalyst of her happiness and her choosing her happiness. So I thought that was really something incredible. Like, she had a lasting impact on people far beyond her years. When the case did take place, there was many prayer services. There were many vigils to let people know about what had happened to her. There was also these beautiful green and pink ribbons that were tied around trees, I believe, in her neighborhood, and then as well as on the corner of Philip and Charlevoix. And if you look on Google Maps, they are still here to this day. I just think that is so cool because there's always going to be a lasting memory of her in that area. Not only was her sister's life impacted of it, but of course her mother's life had a great impact. She had lost her daughter far too soon. In light of the tragedy, Jennifer Stalker became involved in Save Our Children's Future of Michigan, an organization of Metro Detroit residents working together to promote safer neighborhoods. The mission is to keep all of our children safe from harm, Jennifer Stalker said. Every day we meet new people going through the same thing, the same type of situation. It has helped with healing. And that was how they had arrived at the hospital that day. It wasn't because of an ambulance. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And please follow and subscribe to hear more videos like this in the coming up weeks. Thank you so much.